Hey everyone, it's Jack here, TalkNorwichCity. I hope you're all doing very well indeed. It's Friday, which means one thing. Dean Smith has done his press conference ahead of the next Norwich City Championship fixture. This time travelling to Hull City. The Canaries still looking for their first win in the league. We're all hoping, other than Hull fans and maybe Ipswich fans, that Norwich City do get their winning campaign started this weekend. A big thank you to BetMate, who are sponsoring all of our preview content this season. I love BetMate. I'm not just saying that. We have loads of companies approach to sponsor us. BetMate were one of them. We really like their product. They are a fantasy football type game. You pick your team ahead of a certain game week or pot or match, and then you go up against your friends and other people. We are playing the 3 p.m. pot this week. There will be Norwich City Championship games in the future, but these are the teams we're going with. Here's mine: Edison, Johnny, Trippier, Bruno, Saka, Haaland, and Gabriel Jesus. And this is Chris's. You can go up against Chris and I in the pot. We will link how to download BetMate down in the description. He's going with Aaron Ramsdale, Ben White, Dan Burn, Ward Prowse, the free kick maestro, Kevin De Bruyne, and Haaland, who are just a formidable duo at the moment, and Alexander Mitrovic, who scored twice against Liverpool on opening weekend. Link to download and all of the info you need to join that league. It's a £3 entry with a £600 guaranteed payout. It could well be more. We'd love to see you over there. That's BetMate. Really proud to be partnered with them this season. Hull City then, this weekend for Norwich. A fairly routine press conference from Dean Smith. The only bad news is that Sam McCallum is going to be out until after the World Cup. He's needed surgery on his metatarsal, fifth metatarsal, I think, which is desperately sad news. And losing any player to injury is tough. It's even tougher when you've already had another left back out injured. So that's now Dimi Anulis, who is also out injured. We knew that already. Won't be requiring surgery, so that hopefully shortens the time he's out a tiny bit. But Dean Smith is refusing to put a time frame on his return. So that's Sam McCallum and Dimi Anulis out, which is a real shame because they both looked really sharp in the opening couple of fixtures and pre-season. It probably means that Jakob Sorensen will be our left back for the foreseeable future. We may well bring a replacement in at left back. I can't see it happening. And if there is a replacement left back, I don't think it's going to be a world beater. So probably going to be Jakob Sorensen in at left back, which kind of raises a couple of questions, particularly around the midfield. Of course, Sorensen had been playing there in the first couple of games. I wasn't convinced, to be fair, with him in the midfield role. He has looked better when he's played at left back. So that could well be a blessing, but it does mean we're incredibly light in those areas now. The other small positive from the press conference is that Sam Byram will be returning for the Millwall game, as well as Adam Eder. So injured players starting to return. Norwich's squad is deep enough and probably one of the deepest in the division. So it's not overly concerning, but it's unfortunate that the injuries that we have had this season have come in kind of concentrated positions, which is kind of annoying. Todd Cantwell and Ben Gibson will both return. This is the team I'm hoping we play. I'm going with Angus Gunn in goal, actually, which may surprise a few. I think he deserves his spot. I think it's important that we keep Angus happy. He's not going to want to be a second choice in the Championship for too much longer, I wouldn't have thought. Tim Krul hasn't necessarily done anything wrong. I just really like Angus Gunn. I think he's a very good all-round goalkeeper. I think he's far more commanding than he has been in previous campaigns. I think he deserves his chance. Grant Hanley will be returning from suspension. I'd have him in there over Ben Gibson next to Big Andy, who's been superb. I think in terms of impressive performers, Big Andy's been one of them this season. I think he's mobile, he's incredibly athletic, he's good in the air, he's good on the floor. He's the modern day centre back. He's got it all. He kind of reminds me ever so slightly of Ben Godfrey, slightly different players, but just really, really athletic individuals. And I think in the modern game, that's hugely important. And Max Aarons, of course, at right back, it was phenomenal against Wigan. Nice to see him bombing forwards. I think it's always nice to see your fullbacks do that. Max Aarons has that in his locker. We didn't see enough of that in the Premier League. We saw it against Wigan. That gives me hope. And then Jakob Sorensen at left back, because to be honest, it's our only real option there. The midfield is, of course, now the area where we're looking at where we've kind of got options. You've got Gabriel Sarri, you've got Marcelino Nunez, 2 new signings. Both fit, both ready to play. You're going to have Isaac Hayden returning in a few weeks' time. You've got Jakob Sorensen, who has been playing in midfield, now going into defence. This is the 3 I'm going with. Liam Gibbs, who I thought was sensational against Birmingham in the Cup. I'd like to see him in there. I think he's ready to go. I'm leaving Kenny McLean in there, which may alarm a few people. I just don't think throwing in basically 3 new midfielders in Gibbs, Nunez and Gabriel Sarri would be particularly wise away from home. I'm also debating whether Gabriel Sarri is fully match fit. I think he's a good option to have off the bench at this stage. That's the 3 I'm going with. I think Kenny McLean at this level can be a good player. I haven't seen enough from him in the opening 2 games, but there is more to come from Kenny McLean, particularly if you can get him in those advanced positions. I guess with him and Nunez in there, with only Liam Gibbs kind of covering as that more defensive role, that does pose issues in terms of getting overrun. I'd be really interested to hear your thoughts in terms of the midfield down in the comment section below. And then a front 3 where, again, you've got options. I've left Rashica and Josh Sargent out of the game and opted with this front 3 of Todd Cantwell, Onel Hernandez and Teemu Pukki. I'm sticking with Teemu Pukki. I think he's the best striker at the football club. That's no disrespect to Jordan Hugill, who's had a brilliant pre-season, provided the assist for Daniel Sinani's goal on Tuesday night against Birmingham. I just think if you get Pukki in good positions, he will score goals. He hasn't really had too many opportunities in the opening couple of games. I've loved what I've seen from Todd Cantwell in the first few games. I think he's back to his best. I think he looks mentally good as well, and I think that's important for Todd. I think he's a man that needs loving, and I think he's getting that at the moment. And Onel Hernandez, who I would be starting from the off, I think he's been really good when he's come on. I think he puts defenders on the back foot, and I think that's hugely important. It's pleasing that you've then got 16 million quid's worth of talent that can come off the bench in Rashica and Sinani, in Josh Sargent, and Dean Smith's comments around Josh Sargent, really interesting actually in the press conference. He thinks he will come good. Apparently the squad really like him. Apparently the squad think he's a great player. So he's hoping for Josh Sargent. Like, I've been critical of him, and I think rightly so. I think he's deserved criticism. But that penalty may well have given him huge amounts of confidence on Tuesday, and it was a very well taken penalty under the pressure. So well done to Josh for that. In terms of Hull, I said it in my pre-season predictions video. One of the most difficult teams to predict this season. It's difficult to say how any team's going to be performing this early on, particularly with Hull City, who have had a lot of change in the summer. A lot of the players I'm not particularly aware of, or certainly haven't been prior to them moving to Hull. They've started the season relatively well, 4 points on the board. They beat Bristol City, they drew to Preston. Interestingly, the last game we had, Wigan, also drew 0-0 to Preston. So similar form lines coming into this one. I'm confident going into this game. I think Norwich City can get the job done. I think this is where our season gets up and running. I was impressed with the performance for the most part against Wigan. Cardiff was disappointing, but defensively I thought we looked okay. We've conceded 2 goals this season. Both of those goals have been created by our mistakes. If we can cut them out, I think we can keep the majority of teams in this division out. So I am confident. I think we will win. I think it will be an important fixture for Norwich City because there is pressure mounting on Dean Smith, and he needs to get some performances and, more importantly, points under his belt. It's going to be a fascinating encounter. I would love to hear your thoughts. Please do let me know in the comments section below. Remember to download BetMate 18+ for that one. The link is in the description. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you all again very soon. Bye-bye.